Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me today, yeah, it's just me for this pregame show. Weird schedule tonight with the Frozen Frenzy or whatever the NHL calls it. Every team in action tonight. So the Flyers start at 6 o'clock. That's right, a 6 o'clock puck drop, which honestly, that sounds great, doesn't it, Bren? Like, it sounds like this is going to be a lot of fun. It's cool when every team plays and they do this thing. I think it's odd that it's like on a Tuesday. Like, maybe do it during the weekend, have games all day. But I digress. Here we are, getting ready for a Flyers Capitals 6 o'clock puck drop. And finally, after all this time, it has happened. I have been featured in one of these Flyers social media videos, one of their shows, whatever it is, and it hit Twitter just a little bit ago. And honestly, we're going to spend a minute celebrating my own vanity because a few people, I didn't even see it right away. A few people tagged me in it, and I was like, they finally used me. Suck it, Charlie. Charlie is back tonight. He will be covering the game down at the Wells Fargo Center. So we'll talk to him during post-game. But before we do that, let's play this video and listen to me.
Again, 5 games in. I'm sure a lot of coaches and teams are trying to struggle to find their identity too, but we just don't have a lot of time. We need to get at it right away and get back to where our standard is.
There is a buzz about this team. How long it lasts is up to them now.
Soriano, straight up, and he scores! To the net, backhand, and he tucks it in, he scores! Frank calmly tucks it around to give the Flyers the lead in the shootout. Flyers score!
Yeah, so they finally featured me, and I like that they're, like, it starts with John Tortorella saying, yeah, man, we haven't played well. It's 5 games, and probably a lot of teams still don't have their identity, still aren't playing the way that they will in a few weeks, in a few months. Absolutely. But they're acknowledging it heading into this game, that there was a buzz coming into the season because of Mish, because of young players maybe taking the next step, because an 18-year-old in Jet Luchenko made the team. Not in the lineup tonight, though. We'll talk about the lineups in just a second. And then they play the clip of me going, yeah, man, I'm personally like getting more questions about the Flyers from friends, acquaintances, people I run into than I ever have in the last few years. But that's going to go away quickly if this team doesn't find something to make their games a little bit more competitive, come out on the winning end a little bit more, and just be closer to the more entertaining team that they were for 2/3 of last season before the wheels really fell off. Now, maybe that's who they were, and we're just going to have to deal with a year that's really disappointing after. I don't think anyone had high expectations, but I think they expected a lot of individuals to take steps, and if that's not the case, it's going to be a disappointing season. So it's fun that they included me in the thing in like a pump-up video. That's funny. But really, I like that they're leaning into, at least the social media team and the marketing is looking at this like, let's meet this criticism head on. It's only 5 games, and they say that right away, but we know that people were excited, and to start their letdown, maybe we can get something going from here. And that's what I am looking for tonight. And maybe John Tortorella looking for it too, because we're changing some things up with the lineups tonight. It looks like it is going to be Tyson Forster, a healthy scratch. It's Jet Luchenko also comes out of the lineup tonight. And we knew about that. We thought that might be the case. It's a back-to-back. He didn't play in the first back-to-back. They said they didn't want to put him in, but Philadelphia Flyers tweeted about an hour ago, lineup updates. Nick Seeler, he'll make his season debut. He's in. Noah Cates is in. He's only played the 1 game so far. And Nick Delorier will make his season debut as well tonight. Jet Luchenko, Tyson Forster, and Eric Johnson come out of the lineup. Now, we thought we knew about Jet the other day. He was the extra at practice, and there's the built-in, all right, they want to extend his stay a little bit. This is his second time out of the lineup. He has played the 3 games, so you just get to keep him around a little longer maybe, and he'll probably factor back in tomorrow if they were going to keep him out of the lineup for any extended amount of time. Like, just send him back. That's what would make the most sense. Tyson Forster, though, I guess Scott Lawton draws back in. He missed practice the other day with his wife in labor. They have since, he was there. Good for him, but, it was her, obviously. Since given birth to their, to a daughter, son, Reed Leo Lawton. I misread that. Chloe is Scott's wife, so congratulations to them. But it sounds like he'll be in the lineup tonight. And the players coming out are Luchenko, Forster, and Eric Johnson. We knew Eric Johnson would come out as soon as Sealer got in. A little disappointing we never got to see Emile Andre, but so be it. Tyson Forster, though, not off to a hot start. He did score right away to get the season going, but since then, no points. Hasn't scored a goal, no assists in the last 4 games. He's -3. He has the 17 penalty minutes. It was all the one, the instigator fight he got in. Shots on goal, only 9 shots on goal, and only a total of 14 attempts through 5 games. You're like, almost 3 attempts a game. It's not like that's bad, but we need Tyson Forster. Maybe he doesn't need to be Owen Tippett out there in terms of just firing indiscriminately, but we want to see Tyson Forster kind of take that next step, and a guy with the hockey IQ he has and with the shot he has, we need to see more than 1 goal every 5 games, and we need to see more than 3 shot attempts every game. And that's what he's given us so far. I expect him to be back in there tomorrow. We know the coach really likes Tyson Forster. In fact, just the other day, he was in the lineup, and he was in the practice lineup yesterday that had him with Frost and Konechny, which would be your de facto, maybe first line, with Tippett, Paling, Michkov being that second line at practice yesterday. So I don't know what the lines are going to be. We're going to keep an eye out to see if that gets tweeted prior to the end of this show at 6 o'clock. It's a 6 o'clock puck drop, but what does that really mean? 6:05, 6:15, who's to say? But we will see if we can get any update on what the line rushes have been in practice. I see Jordan Hall has tweeted it out at JHall NBCS. It is Tippett, Couturier, Michkov, Lawton, Frost, Konechny, Farabee, Paling, Brink, Delorier, Cates, Hathaway. So Couturier, after starting the last game, started the game on the left wing of the 4th line. He is now centering Michkov, the team's best player, and Owen Tippett, who, despite having 40 shot attempts or whatever it is to start the season, is yet to find the back of the net. And just a spoiler alert, we will be betting Owen Tippett to finally light the lamp tonight. In the 6th game of the season. What is he at? He is at 46 shot attempts through 5 games is Owen Tippett. One's going to go in eventually, and I don't want to miss out on it. So we will have the Owen Tippett coming up in a second. But these lines, again, we are looking at, I see Charlie has put it up as well now. So Tippett, Couturier, Michkov. All right, I still just don't know. I don't know if Mish and Tippett are a great duo. The idea of feeding the one-timer across with, Mish being a lefty on the right and Tippett being a righty on the left. I like that, but I just don't know with Tippett's speed and his puck dominance. Like I said, 47 shot attempts. Mish needs to touch the puck. He's a puck-dominant player, and how many touches does he really get if Tippett is going to be ripping every shot imaginable? And then Couturier, the speed of Tippett, I don't know if that's a great match. The lines are what they are. We spend an inordinate amount of time talking about the lineup because it's one of the things that we can get into. Everyone, loves to try to mess around and make it the perfect lineup. But then you look at Lawton, Frost, Konechny. Frost and Konechny, I do like those two together. Lawton now finds himself, after that 2-goal game, up in what is apparently the top 6 with the most offensively gifted line with Frost and Konechny out there. All right, maybe they just want a little bit more intensity, a little bit more physicality in their top 6. That's why you put Lawton up there, I suppose. And then we get into this bottom 6 where Paling, they're moving him up in the lineup. He had a rough start, but I think he's been better over the last couple. With Farabee and Brink, Farabee and Brink have kind of just been your de facto third-line wingers as they try to find the right combination in the top 6. You put Paling with him tonight. There's some decent speed there, and Paling does have the draft pedigree. He was expected to score more earlier in his career, at least by me. He had that final game of the season with Montreal where he scored a hat trick, so he was my pick to win the Calder the following season. Didn't quite work out that way, but I guess his speed with the Brink and Farabee kind of they do have some chemistry, keeping them together. Maybe you have something there. And then Cates centering Hathaway and Delorier, maybe with Tom Wilson in the lineup and Washington being a bit of a heavier team. You want that enforcer possibility. Delorier hasn't played yet, so you want to get him into a game. Cates as well has only played the one game, that back-to-back they played that Luchenko set out earlier. Okay. This kind of is what it is right now. We will see how this lineup works out. I don't love the idea of sitting Luchenko. I know, okay, it extends his time and all that, but I just want to see him play. I want to see what he is and then make the decision if you're going to send him back or not. But if he's back in there tomorrow, whatever. Tyson Forster, to me, is he's a player you need on the ice. He's going to be good. That's the thing, is if he was a borderline guy, if this was Noah Cates, if this was Garnett Hathaway or Nick Delorier, it's well, they are what they are. They're sort of here, not doesn't matter. Tyson Forster's going to get it together. And I suppose the head coach wants to somehow send a message. He wants to send a message that, hey, maybe no one is exempt. Because we know Tyson is one of his guys. At least we thought we knew Tyson was one of the coach's guys. He's not going early to start the season. Maybe you don't want to pull that Couturier lever yet. Morgan Frost, who does that send a message to? Everyone's immune to the idea of sitting Morgan Frost at this point. So maybe the message is being sent through Forster. Hey, boys, pick it up. Nobody's spot in this lineup is guaranteed. I don't love it, but as Charlie pointed out on Twitter, when you're a fan of or covering or watching or aware of a team coached by John Tortorella, what's normal and what's popular might not be what you get. And that's what we're getting tonight. We have Nick Delorier in the lineup. We have Tyson Forster out. We have Jet Luchenko out. That's just the way it's going to be. So that's what we have for lineup tonight. I wanted to take a quick minute and talk about this opportunity for Matvei Michkov out there on the ice. And you see he's with Sean Couturier, so there's a good chance, especially with Luchenko out, that he's matched up with Alex Ovechkin tonight. They're out on the ice quite a bit together. And earlier today, Michkov was asked about it, and he said, this is a guy I absolutely looked up to as a kid. He was a boyhood hero of Michkov's, and now he gets an opportunity to play against him. And every time Ovi takes the ice, and every goal he scores especially, it's another step towards history. He is going to break the all-time goals record, barring anything insane happening. He only has one to start the season, does Alex Ovechkin. 1 goal in 4 games. He had a really slow start last year, still ended up breaking 30 with a huge second half. So maybe he's on that same path again this year. He has always victimized the Flyers, though. And it's really cool. I wanted to take a look at their both of their numbers when they played in Russia prior to joining the NHL and kind of their paths to get here. We know Ovi was a first overall pick. It missed, one of the reasons he doesn't have the goal record already is his rookie year never happened. He was eventually Calder Trophy winner, but his draft year his draft plus 1 year is the first lockout, the 04-05 lockout. And then, there's the half season in 2012-13 where he led the league in goals, but it was only a 48-goal season. There's been a couple of COVID seasons in there as well. It's like he'd have the record by now, if not for things totally out of his control. But Misha had a hell of a career in the Russian league, the KHL as it's called now. It's cool that he gets this opportunity. He gets it early. I wonder if this was maybe part of his decision to want to come over way earlier than what he expected. If he waits the full 3 years, I think Ovi has just next year left on his contract. Sounds like he wants to break the record and then go back home and play in Russia for his for the twilight of his career. And maybe this was a small part of Michkov's decision. Like, if I go now, I'm going to get that chance. I'm going to get that chance to go head-to-head with Alex Ovechkin, and that's cool for him. That's really cool. And that brings us to our pregame bets. That's right, this pregame pick segment brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And that's right, we are right back on Owen Tippett. I'm never going to stop until he scores. We just have to keep raising the bet. This is how people make money and not lose their house, right? As I always say, beer and pizza money. These bets are just for fun. It's to have a little fun going into tonight's game. We're going to bet Owen Tippett. He is plus 210, so his odds, even though you would think, all right, man, he's got 47 shot attempts. He hasn't lit the lamp yet. 27 and 28 goals the last 2 years. He's going to score eventually. But this is a guy that's been around 170, 180, 190, and he's plus 210 tonight. So, sure, odds go up. We will absolutely bet Owen Tippett. And to go along with that, Matvei Michkov didn't score in the home opener. Now he's up against boyhood hero. This team, I think, might have a little fire under it. It got embarrassed in the home opener. Think there might be some goals tonight on the coming off the Flyers sticks. So we are going to take the two line mates playing together tonight, Owen Tippett and Matvei Michkov, each plus 210 to score. And this Ersson saves total, maybe the Flyers come out and Nick Seeler solves all the problems and they stop bleeding shot attempts against. But they're giving up way more shots than they were last year. That means Sam Ersson has way more chances to make saves. And if the number is going to be under 25 tonight, it's a 24.5 minus 105. Yeah, I think Sam Ersson makes 25 saves tonight. I think that's a very, very fair number. So we will be on that as well. Those are our Bet365 bets for tonight. This is the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. Just looking at these Washington Capitals to start the season, pretty good start for them. Better than I would have expected. Right now, they are third in the Metro with 6 points, 2 regulation wins, all 3 of their wins, regulation and overtime. They're 3-1-0. And this is the team last year that went head-to-head with the Flyers in that last game of the season, ended up getting that final playoff spot. Didn't last very long in the playoffs, as was expected of all the Metro teams. But maybe they're a little bit resurgent because it's not just the Ovi show right now. You look at Dylan Strome. He's got 3 goals, 7 points to start the season. Tom Wilson, back and healthy, 5 goals and an assist in the first 4 games. Wilson has been good for them, as has John Carlson, off to his normal offensive start. If Ovi gets hot, maybe there's something to this team. And the goaltending, not quite what it's been. It's going to be Charlie Lindgren in net for the Caps tonight. He was awesome for them down the stretch, a huge reason why they ended up making the playoffs in 2 starts. I mean, he's only had 2 starts. He's 1-1 with an 8.93. It's not as if 8.93 is terrible right now. The save percentages across the league are absolutely horrendous. But Charlie Lindgren was a big part of that team last year. Maybe look at an over tonight. Maybe that's the play. Caps off to a pretty good offensive start. Ovi hasn't even really gotten it going yet. The Flyers need some goals. Maybe we see him tonight. Maybe with Mish up against Ovi, get a little Russian showdown. the Mad Russian against the Great Eight. That could be fun, but I'm sticking with my 2 goal scorers and my saves over right now. We'll start getting into more game lines and stuff as the season goes on, but it's just impossible to tell who's good and who's not right now. Anyone can win every night. Like, that's hockey, sure, but you at least want to make an informed bet, and I don't quite think we're there yet going into just the 6th game of the season. All right, before we wrap up tonight, let's hit some Super Chats. All right, we have 3 Super Chats right now. Let's start it off with Gritty Ross. The boys, they happen to be back in town. Let's go Flyers. Yeah, Bryn just continues to kill it with our thumbnails. I just love the Thin Lizzy song, The Boys Are Back in Town. Every time it comes on, I look at Ava and I just go, I don't remember whose tweet it is, but, in the history of the world, millions of songs. Only one of them is about the boys being back in town. So let's go. She puts it on for me, and I just go absolutely nuts. I freaking love that song. It's a classic. It is the definition of classic rock. All right, let's get to Gary B's first one. He says, "Let's go Flyers." Absolutely. Flyers only have the 1 win so far, and it's a shootout win. No regulation wins. No wins at home. Obviously, this is only their 2nd home game, but you want to get those things out of the way. You want to win in front of the home crowd. Like I said to start the show, with the Flyers even acknowledging in their social media video, like, yeah, people are excited, but we got to keep them interested. This is how you do it. Winning in front of the home fans makes the home fans want to come back. It makes them not want to sell their tickets to Rangers fans, for instance, when the Rangers come into town, or when maybe Pittsburgh comes into town. The Devils, imagine allowing your building to get taken over by the only couple of thousand Devils fans who even freaking exist. In order to prevent those things from happening, you need to win at home. That's what tonight is, an opportunity to win at home. And I know the Caps have looked good. They're not that great. We saw them head-to-head last year. We look at this roster. It's a million years old. Like, I clicked on Tom Wilson's name, and I was like, my God, Tom Wilson's 30? Like, is that what's happening? Like, Dylan Strome, you're like, the Stromes, they're young. He's 27. John Carlson is 35. Ovi's 39. Maybe that's part of the reason they want Lawton up in the top 6 tonight. They have Delorier in there. Cates is in there. Maybe they want to be a little bit physical with this older Washington lineup. Maybe they want to throw the body around a little bit. That always makes for an entertaining game. It's not as if we haven't seen some brawls with the Capitals before. Throughout history, the Ray Emery fight with Holtby, all that stuff. Maybe we get a little bit of that tonight, too. I'm just looking for a fun game, but we absolutely need a Flyers win. And this second one from Gary B here, I don't like it, but Torts will be Torts. Let's effing go Flyers. Yeah, it might not seem right, and maybe it isn't, and it will eventually lead to the downfall and the explosion of the Tortorella experience, as has been the case in several of his stops. But you just kind of got to make your peace that John Tortorella is going to do stuff you disagree with. And as I talked about with Kelly just yesterday, I see in the comments, thanks for hanging out, Hanks, all coaches are bad. All coaches do stuff you don't agree with. We have seen it throughout time. Yeah, absolutely. Craig Berube, when he was here, we were like, what's he doing? Can't Sean Couturier get one offensive zone draw? And he'd be like, listen, Bergeron gets all these defensive zone draws, and he still scores a little bit. But yeah, but maybe you want to help him out because Bergeron's going to the Hall of Fame, and comparing him is really unfair. But it is what it is, and maybe the young players don't get the kind of time you want from Berube. But look at him. He's won a Stanley Cup, and now he's the coach of the Maple Leafs. Pretty good job to have. Even Dave Hackstall. We looked at Dave Hackstall he's going to come in. He's going to be this progressive young coach. He's from the college ranks. He's going to know how to deal with young players. What was it, this second week of the season, he scratched Ghost and Konechny, and we all freaked out? It happens. Alain Vigneault, the players straight up quit on Alain Vigneault. Jake Voracek hates him. To this day, thinks he's a quitter. Stuff happens, man. All coaches are bad. And now here we are with John Tortorella, who honestly has given a longer leash to more. It's the veterans he's screwed with more than the young guys. I don't love tonight's lineup, but you know what that means. They're going to play great tonight. They're going to win. And then we're going to be going, what are you doing changing a winning lineup after last night? We'll see how it works out. But first, the Flyers have to get that first home win. They got to get that first regulation win. I really, really want to see it tonight. And not that I'm going to bet on it, because why would I ever bet on the Flyers to win? Come on. Come on now. We've all been around the last 10 years. But I think maybe that message, by sitting one of his guys, Tyson Foerster, 20 goals last year, stayed in the lineup even though he went his first 15 without scoring, and he wasn't coming off a particularly strong camp to make the team. Like, we've talked. I think the reason Bobby Brink made the team out of camp last year, yes, he had a strong camp, but it was like, well, we really want Foerster to make it, and we can't look at everyone with a straight face and go, oh, Foerster beat out Brink. He didn't. Like, that did not happen. So both made it. Like, I kind of think that's the way it went, and Foerster has been Torts' guy. By sitting him, maybe it does get the message across that what we've seen through these first 5 games is nowhere near good enough. And if we want to keep this buzz going and we want to keep our own spots in the lineup, it's not just Sean Couturier and Morgan Frost and those sorts of players who will be subject to the wrath of John Tortorella. It could be anyone, as we're seeing. We have a highly touted 22-year-old who the coach loves. He's sitting tonight. Well, and they've made it apparent. Charlie confirmed it via Flyers PR. This is not an injury. This is not, well, you know, Foerster's banged up. It's a back-to-back, so we're sitting, he'll be, you know, back tomorrow. This is a healthy scratch. Now, this was also said about Couturier last year, and then it turned out like, well, he's playing through an injury, but we're still calling it a healthy scratch because we want to send that message to him. But 5 games in, you wouldn't expect Foerster to be dealing with any sort of wear and tear. It's a healthy scratch, and they're making that known. It's a message. Is it going to work? We will see tonight as this game unfolds. But that will pretty much do it for the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. I will be back, and Charlie will be joining me from the Wells Fargo Center tonight after the game, so make sure you're tuned in right here to our YouTube page. Make sure you hit that reminder bell so you get the notification as soon as we go live. We will have pre- and post-game for you tomorrow for tomorrow's game in Washington, so make sure you're tuned in for that as well. Follow us on Twitter. I will be tweeting throughout the game at PHLY_Flyers, so if you want to hit me up, that's the place to do it. And follow the podcast. All of our post games and all of our regular non-game day shows are there. So you can always listen to me screaming at you. Just search PHLY Flyers. All right, that'll do it for us. My name is Bill Matz. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Let's go Flyers!
We all silly like the mayor.